Blessings, beloved ones, wherever you are, whoever you are, whyever you are, welcome. So this just came up as a frequency that I haven't really felt inspired or called to touch on anytime recently, really, because it's relatively occult and esoteric and sometimes triggering for those with the Western lensing index. And I'm mostly going straight on this highway for the next 15 minutes, so I think it's a perfect time for me to dial in. So it was asked recently, what's the whole thing with carbon, and why is carbon as a form of worship the Antichrist, basically? And the concept is relatively simple, but the rabbit hole is slippery. And the rabbit hole, in a nutshell, is that we are a multidimensional being, right? We are, as a human, you're a human, I'm a human, looking through eyeballs, bipedal hominid, body, mind, spirit complex, as defined by Ra in the Law of One. But ultimately, that's noticed amongst many different teachings and lineages, that we have a body, we have a mind, those are kind of connected, and we have a spirit or a soul, obviously all connected. To see it as one is to see in a unified way. We are, we have lower animal instincts and we have higher spiritual ideals, and not just ideals, but realities. We have the ability to love someone as if they are self. They are literally a part of us. We're including them in the definition of me and an I, and not to an insane level, although to the logical mind it might seem like that. But we are able to see each other as segmented and separate, and we're also able to see each other as unified and holistic, integral, one. That which is the same amongst all of us is consciousness. It's the awareness that is the pervading perspective, pervading like it's always, it's the aspect of us that is always noticing. It is the component of us from which we notice all the rest of the experience. The I am. The I am is our soul's awareness. Yogically, they call it the Atma. In individuated form, it's the Jiva Atma. Connected to the collective, it's the Paramatma. The process of self-realization is to realize that we are that we are the connected, the whole shebang. So what's the part of us that's different? Oh, before I leave that though, the part of us that is the same, the I am is technically not physical, but the I am is moving into a manifested form of a body-mind. And my understanding is, as it has been given to me and shown to me firsthand, and then amongst my studies and noticings, the aspect of us that is literally the barrier or the bridge between the physical and the non-physical is like a crystal. It's literally crystalline. Now, I don't know if it's technically plasma. I don't know the quantum physics exact material that it is, but my understanding, my sense, and my knowingness is that it is crystalline in nature. It is that through which the light passes to become manifest as the body-mind complex and a soul in individuation. That crystalline aspect is Christ. It is the Christ. It is what Yeshua realized and taught and still represents today, even if he's called Jesus. So that which is you, that which is me, that which we all are, the I am is, that's the same, right? The sameness. Now, we're also individual monkey creatures, and some monkeys are more tan than others, some monkeys are more pale than others. Some monkeys look more like rodents, some monkeys look more like mammals, some monkeys look more like reptiles, some monkeys look like amphibians. We're these bipedal mammalian creatures, and we have our our kind of animal component, and then our psyche is this personality aspect of it that's right amongst it. It's woven into it, and that's our personal reality, our personality, which astrology is a huge component of, but the mind and the identity that the mind develops throughout its experience of being a body in any particular life, it can sometimes go against astrology or further accentuate astrology. But that which is different, what's the part that's different? Well, what is the molecular atomic structure that is the mammalian body, that is the physical body, that is the manifest physical sheath? In the yogic lore and lineage of understanding, there are literal sheaths. There's like those, I forgot what the Russian dolls are called, you know, there's one Russian doll, you open it up, there's another one in it. You open it up, there's another one in it. Open it up, another one in it. And it keeps getting more and more refined or smaller until it's as small as it can get. And that's the idea of the Atma, is that we're this energy body. It's kind of paradoxical too, because it kind of goes out and it goes in. That's another story. But what is the carbon aspect? What is the aspect of our body that is different from everybody? Even though we all have one, your body's different than mine. Very aesthetically, like you're not my identical twin. And even identical twins, they can have sometimes little birthmarks and stuff like that. So it's this idea of carbon being the physical self and the Christ being the light self, the aspect of self that is consciousness, that is connected to the Father, that is the Son of the Father. And the carbon is like the cross that the Christ is on. And so when these folks in the entertainment industry or wherever, whoever, they go all like that vibe and they say 666 and they flip the Christ upside down. They literally like watch Lil Uzi's performance I don't know, any time in the past few years, and I'm pretty sure his main set aesthetic is just upside down crosses on fire. And you'll see that throughout not just hip-hop, but pop culture is now putting it out in very interesting ways. Another story, sidebar. It's not really a sidebar though, because what is that? What is that? Why are some people literally flipping the cross upside down? It's on fire, and they're saying this is the Antichrist. What does that mean? And then how does the number 666 fall into this, and what the fuck does that mean? And why does it scare so many Christians to even talk about it? Which is why I felt like I couldn't even talk about it, and yet I was super confused by it, because it seemed like these people that were experiencing really high levels of wealth, really luxurious lifestyles, particularly in hip-hop and other forms of entertainment though, in film and cinema and music and stuff like that, also designers. So it's like pop culture in particular seemed to throw this out there. But then you look at it, there are satanic churches, right? Another bar here, not sidebar all the way, it's pretty much the same note. Who is Satan? From my understanding, the Roman Catholic Christian distortion field has warped the animistic element that is the manifest world into its own deification, and with a lens of intense negative labeling. So the Greek, and even probably pre-Greek, I don't have the exact historical rundown for you, but it was just Saturn. It's astrotheology, I guess, because it's just a freaking planet with rings around it. But that planet is in correlation to an aspect of our waking state reality that it basically rules time, from what I understand, time and money and laws, rules, regulations, boxes, squares, cubes. Most of society's metropolitan sectors are in cubes or squares or rectangles, 4 corners, 4 90-degree angles boxing something in. So Saturn is literally the aspect of manifest reality that's the time and space box, if you will. It's the 4 dimensions, depth, width, height, and then time is what we're moving through it with. And so that's Saturn. Saturn's not like a bad woo-woo thing, but all of a sudden you say Satan, it's whoa, woo-woo-woo-woo, the ultimate woo-woo. And then Satan's lead henchman is Lucifer. And Lucifer is really paradoxical if you really dive into the, like, Rudolf Steiner's teachings and descriptions, and I notice them as noticings. And kind of like a reverse mirror frequency of Yeshua's Christ light. And the quickest way that I can summarize that so we can get back on track is Lucifer's service to self light. It's still light, but it's service to self light. Christ, or Yeshua's frequency, is service to other. It's pure light, it's the divine light, and it's ultimately in synchronization with the flower of life and the law of one, at a higher frequency, a higher density than service to self. Because Lucifer can still bring in what could be seen as positive change, but it's got nasty karmic kind of reverberations to it, which to someone who's uninitiated, they'll be like, fuck it, I don't care, I want to get out of this scenario, I don't care about the karma, they'll do that. But in order to do that, they synchronize with the upside down cross and the number 666. Why? From my understanding, the number 666 is a representative of, there are 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 neutrons, protons, ion, I don't know, something like that. I'm not saying that this is the part that I know. The part that I know is the experiential cellular difference. There's a feeling when you interface with somebody who has that antichrist frequency versus someone who has the Christ frequency. It feels the difference between Christ is loving, Christ is uplifted, and the Lucy light is not lifted. It's lifting down, and it's sometimes violent, and it's seductive. It usually has something to do with making sexuality worshipped, which again is what the upside down cross does. I had this one shamanic experience one time on a form of DMT. It wasn't regular DMT, and I forgot exactly what it was called. 4-ACO DMT, I think it was called. And my hands ended up in this mudra, and I was seeing this really intense shamanic realm of the metaphysical nature of the music industry. And I had these questions that I journaled before I went into it. And one of them was like, what's the upside down cross all about? Why is it there? Why is it so spooky to those who consider themselves as good? And then why are some people we're all souls, why are some people using that as this, like, it's like war. It's like they're saying war. Why? What's going on? Help, what's happening? And what I saw was that it's literally flipping the light body upside down. That use of that symbolism is flipping the light body upside down. It makes ajna muladhara, meaning it makes the third eye the genitals. And so they're literally seeing, well, actually, it might be up slightly. The third eye becomes Svadhisthana, which is the orange chakra, which is basically your sexual identity. Your identity before you're just completely primal. You have a primal instinct, but you're also an individuated form, and you have this magnetism and attraction. It's also not a coincidence that it happens to be where the abdomen is, and why it's now this thing in pop culture where the waistline is, and to show abs, it's like sexy. What is sexy? It's a whole thing that's been weaponized against us. Obey, consume, procreate, etc. So the carbon worship is literally saying, worship, whoever's doing it is saying, we worship our individual body and our ability to gain power for this body, this mind, this person, this soul, this self. And this soul, this self is not connected to the other souls or selves. It's an individual soul, sovereign, one of one, and it's against everybody else. So it's not in cooperation, it's in competition. And I think that's pretty much it. That sums it up. What is the upside down cross? It's basically the inverted light body, and it's the antithesis of what the Christ is. It is the non-Christ, even though that's impossible because Christ is all things. So it's basically just a perversion of the mind. The upside down cross is just a perversion of the mind, and particularly the Western mind. This is not something you go to, and I don't live in India, so I don't know, but I have a deep sense and intuition that you go to India and you're not going to see upside down crosses or, chains and collars around people's necks and leather with black spikes. You probably will somewhere, because it's been Americanified. It's been now sent out into the pop culture of the world as one of America's exports. And America's main philosophical template that they're pulling from or distorting further, which is wild because it's already a wild distortion, is the Roman reality bubble. And mind you, Rome is the proliferator of Christianity, not Yeshua. They're not proliferating Yeshua, they're proliferating Christianity because it serves the Catholic guilt and it further spirals in power to the Roman Catholic Vatican bizarreness. But Yeshua's light is so true that even amongst all of the distortions, his light is still, you can still get it. You can still get it straight up from going to a Catholic church or a Christian church. There's so many people that are heart-centered. There's so many people that know his light to just be undying goodness. You don't have to get into philosophical, what's the esoteric or mysticism. No, goodness. Just pure, loving, divine goodness. How to use this one in the highest way possible that benefits as many as possible. Goodness. That's Yeshua. And that's Christ, which you are, I am, every living being is, and even non-living beings are in a way existing and therefore part of life, therefore living, but it's a what's the term? It's neither here nor there, but it is kind of here and there. So that's upside down cross. Carbon is the 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 something other things. Protons, neutrons. Some scientist is watching me talk and be like, oh my God, what an idiot. Antichrist, which is the anti-cross. Because mind you, the cross makes, X marks the spot, and it makes the heart the center, which is also how the Merkaba activates into its highest potency and potential. Shout out to Drunvalo Melchizedek, and any children of light, any children of the rainbow tribe, indigos, crystal rainbow kids that know that the real path is the path of the heart. That's bhakti yoga, that's karma yoga. Although there's other ways to do it, not everybody's going to be the most loving about it. Some are more inclined to wisdom, and wisdom can sometimes come across as non-loving. And that's also in the Law of One, in the Ra teachings that Bentinho Massaro helps all of us understand better, is the densities. 4th density is about love, 5th density is about wisdom. And yes, sometimes wisdom is harsh, and it doesn't feel as loving, because quite literally, the quantum mechanics of it is that it isn't. It's not interested in that. It's not emphasizing that, although it's a higher form of love. But we as a body-mind don't always access it and experience it like that. So, yeah, why am I making this video? Because I experienced for years genuine disturbed confusion around what is all of this weird mumbo-jumbo that's like, what's the goat with the head? Oh man, that's a whole nother thing. It's really just Capricorn. It's Capricorn who is the exalted navigator of Saturn. And then the Baphomet seems like it turned into this other thing, this other frequency for people to worship. And then the Aleister Crowleys of it all turned into like Thelema. And it's worship to self. It's like basically self-worship. And that's who these folks are. And that's the 666 vibe, is the carbon, is they're worshiping their self. And if you worship the Christ, then you worship your brother and your sister, and you worship the love that is all of us. You don't worship yourself. That's not going to feel good. Unless you're running away from something, and you're trying to cover that up, and you want to cover it up with the frequency of revenge. That's the allegory of Lucifer. And Lucifer is something that can happen in any human, because it's, yes, there might be an actual being that shows up, in flames, but I don't know. Ask Billie Eilish. How about that, folks? Because she might know. But other than that, it is what it is, Vibes.